come in. And usually if you came in first or second class, you went right to New York, took the train wherever you were going. But the immigration official, his dad walked away, brought him back, and he said, "You're a cripple," the term they used in those days. And Dad said, "Well, I have a stiff leg. I was shot in the war." And the fellow said, "Ellis Island." Dad said, "I got my bond. I don't have to go to Ellis Island." So Dad went to Ellis Island. He told great stories. It wasn't that much fun. I always remember he talked about the fact that women with babies, all the men used to give them their handkerchiefs because the officials there never supplied them with diapers. And so the day came where he was called in for his interview. And the fellow told him, "Look," he says, "I know you got a degree in accountancy from college, but," he said, "you can't practice as a bookkeeper because you can't speak English. You can't dig ditches because of your leg." He says, "You'll be a drain on the American economy. You have to go back to Germany." Oh, Dad was shattered. So as he was walking out, he stopped and he came back in and he said, "I can play the piano." And the immigration official said, "Great, we can always use musicians." But he said, "I'd like to hear you." So he took Dad to the big dining hall at Ellis Island. There was an old upright piano. And he said, "All right, let's hear you." Dad's sister had taught him one old German marching tune. And he said, "I played it slow, I played it fast, the sweat dripped on the keys, I kept my foot on the acoustic pedal, so it reverberated all around the dining hall." And he said, "I wound it up with a big crescendo. And then I thought, God, I did the best I could, that's it." And the fellow said, "Okay, come on," took him back to the office. Dad came in as a piano player. So when Iacocca was restoring Ellis Island, I sent in a check to put Dad's name on the list there outside. And when I was visiting in New York, I went out and found his name on the thing. And as I was standing there, a fellow from the Park Service came up. And he said, "Oh, finding an, ancestor." And I said, "Yeah, my father," and pointed. And we got talking, and I briefly told him the story about the piano. And the Park Service official said, "Oh, you've got to talk to our curator. He collects stories like that, for reports on the book on Ellis Island." So I met with a fellow in his office, and he got a tape recorder, and I told him the story of my dad coming in as a piano player. And so when we were finished, I said, "Well, I'm going, catch the ferry back to Staten Island." He said, "Oh, before you go," he said, "go up on the third floor, over in the corner." So I went up, and they had these big glass cases, and they got all this old junk that they found when they restored Ellis Island, an old clock and a desk and a chair. And I went around one glass case, and there was the piano. I still cry. I cried like a baby. If it hadn't been for that piano, I wouldn't be here. So it was, So anyway, I've had a very fortunate life in so many respects. I'm sorry I'm not a better writer from the standpoint that, as I mentioned before, I'm like Stephen King. I don't start a next book when I finish one. I go out and mess around, look for shipwrecks, and play with old cars and things like that before I finally, oh God, I got to sit down and start another book. So I'm sorry I don't write faster. So at the moment, working with my son, I thought it would be fun. Well, I don't know. I don't like to do things other authors do. Just like I remember in Dragon, I had a scene where Pitt was at an automobile concourse meet, and he had his Stutz, green Stutz, and next to him was a fellow with his red Hispano, old guy with gray hair and a gray beard. So Pitt went over and said, "Hi, my name's Dirk Pitt," and I'm typing away, and the next thing I wrote, the fellow says, "Hello, I'm Clive Cussler." I thought, why did I do that? But I thought, oh hell, I left it in just for laughs. And I thought the editor would probably, oh God, that's terrible. But he said, knowing you, he said, I left it in. I received 600 letters from people. Oh, hey, wow, that's fun, So from that point in, I always had to make my walk-on appearance, and I'm amazed how many people write in and, expecting it. God, when do you show up? So it's fun to do that because most authors, of course, don't do that. Mine was because of the cars, I thought book jackets. Authors always have this studio portrait taken when they were 20 years younger. And I thought, nobody cares about me. I'll put the car in and I'll stand in the background. And so after about two books, then it hit me because I knew production from advertising, and I called up the publisher and I said, I'm going to make the back jacket in color. Oh my God, you can't do that. It's too expensive and this and that. And I said, wait a minute. I'll pay for the photograph. I'll have the line set, Clive Cussler with Dirk Pitts, whatever the car was. And I said, I'll send you the camera finished art. And I said, you're printing the front jacket in 4-color anyway. This isn't going to cost you any more to run the whole jacket in 4 colors. So they said, okay. Dragon was the first book ever published with the jacket in color on the back. And then other authors, of course, since followed suit. So it is fun to be a little different on things like that. So I don't know why, but every second or third book, Pitt would always think back to his lost love from Pacific Vortex, Summer. And things hang with you. When I was in Hawaii way back in 1957, my wife was in a clothing store buying a muumuu or something, and there was this gorgeous, probably about 18, 19-year-old girl, long red hair. And she tried on this rather tight green silk Chinese dress, slit on the sides. And I thought, what a knockout. And she was arguing with her mother, who said, oh, no, that's too much. You can't get that dress. That's too, it doesn't look right. It's too sexy and all this. And I remember the girl came over to me. She said, well, come on, Mom, I can get it. I'll ask this gentleman over here. What do you think? I think it looks very nice. As I said with an erection. I never forgot that. And then in the book Pacific Vortex, when Pitt meets Summer in the bar of the Alamona Hotel, she has long red hair and a green tight silk Chinese dress. So I would refer to her, and that's why I thought Pitt's getting a little long in the tooth, because I was kind of aging, he and Al, throughout the books. And so that's when I thought it'd be fun to have Pitt have these 2 kids that he knows nothing about, that Summer didn't die in the first book. And they show up at his doorstep, and as time goes on, and I've heard that a lot of readers don't like it, but they will take over. Pitt and Al will always show up and save the day. But Pitt takes command of Numa, Sandecker becomes vice president, he'll still come in and all that. And then the kids, pretty soon, with the right transition, you won't know the difference between Dirk Jr. and Dirk Sr. So, and then of course, he has a sister. So it's fun to bring in the female end of it from that standpoint. So that's kind of the way it's going. I don't know if everybody's going to like it or not, but what the heck. In fact, I got a call from Tom Clancy. He said, that's a great idea. And so I see Jack Ryan has a son now. So, so anyway, we'll keep the ball rolling. As many of you know, I finished a children's book. And I'm working on the car book, Dirk Pitt and Clive Cussler's car collection. And then right now I'm working, well, I call it a Western. Actually, it's 1906. And it's kind of a turn of the century detective story. So I'm doing fun stuff now, and still working with my son on the next Pitt book. So it's become a cottage industry because of Jack DeBrol and Paul Compricos, who does such a marvelous job. I think Paul writes better than I do. And so it's great fun all the way around, and I hope I can keep you all entertained, for a long time to come. Somebody said something about, was it Wayne, another 30 years, it'd only make me 104. So, but it's been a real pleasure, and I'm so grateful. You've made me feel so wonderful, and I really am. I appreciate every minute of it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you. Oh gosh. Thank you. Oh my. Give me that. Thank you so much.